Just in case something happens. It's not there.
All right.
Okay, let's go.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mark DiCarlo. Tonight, my guest is a local comedian. Would you bill yourself as a comedian?
Yeah, I'm just a dude.
What, do people laugh when they hear your joke? I guess that would make you a comedian.
Sometimes. Yeah, they do. But I will, because I got a lot of fire. And I don't know if they laugh at what I say, just more the fire I have when I say it. I think that's probably more so.
Oh, yeah? I got a lot of fire, too, you know. Want to fight it out and see what happens? So you had a Rocky Balboa story in Philadelphia. You said you wanted to tell it.
Yeah, I mean, I want to tell it because I asked if you'd been to Philadelphia.
One time.
And you said
I like
yes.
Philadelphia.
Well, anyway, so I was just asking if you ran the art museum steps.
I didn't. I didn't. You know what? I didn't even think of it. I saw the statue was of Sylvester Stallone, which was off to the side.
Yeah, that they moved.
And but I will say this. Here's what a nerd I am. I was very impressed with the museum. See, you didn't mention the museum. You just mentioned the steps. So
yeah, that's because my favorite boxer is Rocky Balboa. And
your favorite fantasy boxer.
No, he's a real boxer. He's in the Hall of Fame. So I got to the steps, and I was like, man, Rocky ran these. So
I didn't even think of that.
But if you see in the movie, he ran them pretty fast when he was fired up at the end. He was going to fight the Russians or whoever he was fighting. And
every time.
Yeah,
was that scene in every movie?
He was in Russia.
Was that in every movie? Did he run the steps in every movie?
1 through 5 plays in my mind.
Okay.
That happens every time.
Okay.
So I got to the art museum and I was like, man, he was really struggling. I think I'm faster than Rocky Balboa because it took him 7 minutes to run up the steps. Real time, you know how long it took me?
That'd be pretty boring movie time. So I don't think they showed 7 minutes.
I was bored
okay,
actually
so go
during
ahead.
that part.
How long did it take you?
6 seconds. That's it. They make those steps like they're from
Well,
here.
I did notice that in the movie that is it the Philadelphia Art Museum?
Yes.
The Philadelphia Art Museum looks a lot more massive than it did when I got there. I felt. Is that right?
Yeah.
So you were downstairs waiting. Because this is the version of the Coastal Bend. This is the reboot. You know, like Spider-Man had a reboot. This is the reboot. So we have a new crew here helping us out, or version 5.0. So you were waiting downstairs because we weren't ready to go. And what were you thinking?
Well, exactly what I was thinking when I pull up. Nobody's downstairs.
Yeah.
But I heard people upstairs.
Yeah,
so I say, okay, I'll wait. I saw you walk down the steps. I was going to come up. And then you held me downstairs.
I held you downstairs.
I called my wife right then because I thought possibly, because I heard voices up here and a lot of people, but you didn't let me
We're
up.
partying up here, man.
I thought I was about to get whacked, possibly. And so I was like, just calling everybody, just letting them know where I was at.
Street vernacular.
Yeah.
Whacked. Okay.
Yeah, let's don't be silly. I was already looking for ways out. Like, what do we do?
So
you messed me up here because I don't know where to go out.
Yeah. Just dive out one of the windows. So be close. So you're a comedian. Where are you a comic at?
I mean, I do them all over South Texas. I do shows all over South Texas. I had a show in Oklahoma last weekend, but I'm the host of Comics Live.
Where's Comics Live?
Comics Live, it's off of SPID at Gators.
Mm-hmm.
Gators Sports Bar, and then the back side of it is Comics
So
Live.
if I want to go to Gators and I want to see a comic act, how much do I have to pay to get in?
That would depend on who the act is. Thursday nights are open mic nights. That's free. Friday and Saturdays, and sometimes Sundays, depending on who the performer is, they'll have a couple shows. Three shows if it's Friday, Saturday, 4 if they have the Sunday show. And it could be anywhere from $10 to $30, depending on who's there.
Mm-hmm.
30's a little astronomical.
So
only a couple people.
Do all the acts get paid who perform there, or just the main headlining act?
No, all the acts that do the shows on weekends, they all get paid there.
You get paid?
Yeah.
One of our phones came off. See, this is help today. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, what happened?
I told everybody to turn their cell phones off.
Yeah.
But
this is like
no more of
in
that.
the classroom.
Yeah.
I'll handle this.
Give him an F.
Sure.
Give him that. No. At any rate, so you you're not a comic full time, right?
No, but this is the intimidating face that I do at work that you're going to ask me about when I don't like what just happened like this.
Oh, okay. You could try flaring your nostrils.
Bro, what are you doing with the... All right.
You could try flaring your nostrils too. That always works.
Yeah, I work in the pipeline industry.
Okay.
So
how does one, like in the pipeline industry, get involved with a comedy? Is this something you were doing when you were younger and all, or did you just start doing this?
Comedy?
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, you want the story? You want to get the story?
Is it a
Let's
boring?
link
If it's a
together.
good story,
I don't know if it's really
if it's a
good,
boring
but
story, I
I'm
don't
gonna tell
want to
you
hear it
anyway.
because, you know,
Let me tell you anyway.
I'll just interrupt you if it's boring. Go ahead.
Well,
Give it a shot.
I'm going to tell it, but it might be boring
All right,
because
might be.
the other day when we spoke on the phone, you interrupted me about 5 minutes into it, like, hey, just tell it later.
Okay, go ahead. I'm braced. I'm braced. Go
So
ahead.
here's how it happened. And I got to give this little build-up part. I always watched stand-up comedy shows my whole life. When I was a little kid,
Okay.
basically about little kid age, whatever age you want to call that.
6 to 7 is a little.
Yeah, we'll go 4. Let's go 4 to 20. I watch Saturday Night Live every single weekend. That's
Is that
all I
right?
wanted to do. What's that?
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I always wanted to be on Saturday Night Live as a kid. Now, I did nothing to pursue that goal ever, not at any
course.
point. Started working, but I always enjoyed comedy. So when I was out of town, working like in pipeline refineries, I would go all over the United States. I would watch Netflix and I would watch YouTube stand-up comedy shows all the time. So I get a job here in Corpus. I'm getting some things at Office Depot there. A lady asked a guy for a job. The guy leaves. I said, "Who's that guy?" She said he owns the comedy club. So that was the first I had heard that there was a comedy club in town. I'd never been to one. So I was like, "Oh, well, that's cool. I'm going to check it out." So I went to check it out the first week. I walked in there. It was like Halloween. I didn't know what to expect. People were dressed like their favorite comedians, dropping one-liners from the comedians, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty interesting." It's not me. I'm not going to dress up, but that's whatever. So I show up the next week. There's a little competition, and I was sitting with the comedian. We had a couple beers. He said, "Hey, you want to get up there?" I said, "Sure." That was how it started. So I got up there that night. There was just a local contest just for who was there, and I won that night. The very first.
How was it determined that you won? By applause?
Yeah.
So you had the audience loaded with your friends and
Yeah.
family, I guess. That's
Well,
how you.
I
just
knew
joking.
nobody.
No, I'm just.
That's the thing.
Good
That's
job.
what's hard for me sometimes.
Yeah,
Like
good
for
job.
show purposes, like I don't know anybody. I'm not from here, so. So I won 3 weeks later. There's another little thing. I won that, and then maybe 2 or 3 weeks after that, the funniest person in Corpus Christi competition, and I won.
Where was that competition
at? It was at Comics Live. That was held downtown then.
Let's change subjects very quickly. You know, I before have gone with a date. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, okay. and maybe didn't see you, but saw different people. And sometimes the comedians get pretty vulgar, right?
Yes.
And then,
Sometimes.
and I have mixed, because sometimes the guys are very vulgar, but I still find myself laughing pretty hard.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Depends on what
But still, but in a way, I don't want to approve of that level. But you know what I mean. I must say it is funny sometimes.
Right. Sometimes.
So how vulgar you get, man? How vulgar do you get?
Um.
George Carlin vulgar, Richard Pryor vulgar,
You know,
Lenny Bruce vulgar,
I really don't think
Sarah
that
Silverman
I'm
vulgar.
vulgar. I mean, I really don't get vulgar. I have said a curse word or two, but I try to just. I have some personal standards I have when I get on stage. There's just some things I don't say.
Personal standards.
Yeah, and
George Carlin had that famous bit. He just passed away, and he had this famous bit: the 7 words or something you're not allowed to say, and then that, and his idea was that these words were somehow important to have to say for whatever reason. So are those the 7 words?
If you use things properly, like I tell a lot of stories, and so I myself usually don't say curse words so much, but I'll tell a story about what people say to me. and because I work in the pipeline industry, there's a lot of guys that say things you probably wouldn't say.
Well, I'm not saying that I don't. I'm saying in a public place, in mixed company, in a performance, you know what I mean? It could be pretty vulgar, but I guess when men talk like that, I don't think much of it one way or another. I don't think I'm not offended or anything like that. That's a different place and time.
Well, there's one thing that needs to be said, I guess. It's not really on that note, but that's what led you to that. The night you were at the comedy club, I don't know. I thought she was cute. I thought you guys looked cute together.
Stop.
I thought you made a cute couple.
No.
And I don't know what happened, ma'am. If you're out there,
Yeah, Thanks.
Mark was talking about you
Thanks,
earlier.
man. Thanks, man. I needed that.
Yeah.
So, like, what about? So you watch these old comedians,
Yeah.
and there's this idea. What about the gluttony, self-destructive comedian? Belushi, I think John Candy did self-destructive. Was that his name? John Candy.
Yeah, John Candy.
He did self-destructed that way. Then there was Belushi. Then there what was
In my time, the greatest one in my time was Chris Farley.
Chris Farley.
That
No,
hurt my
John
feelings
Candy's
in real
okay.
life
No,
when
John.
he died.
Okay, John. What was his name? John Farley.
John Candy, but Chris Farley.
Okay, John
Chris,
Candy, Chris Farley. All of those guys died like that.
Chris Farley did for sure.
Chris Farley
John Belushi did for sure.
Belushi did, and who's the guy
I
that
don't
used
remember
to?
John Candy. I don't remember.
No, that's not him. Okay, my apologies to the Candy family.
Wait,
but,
when I said I don't remember John. Yes, I know John Candy. I don't remember how you.
Okay, Farley, and Belushi, and who was the guy that used to scream a lot? Kinnison. Yeah, those guys. What's the story, man? Some sort of glutton? Is that funny or something? Gluttony, self-destructiveness of not. That's what I thought. I didn't think any of those guys were too funny. Belushi had some moments for sure.
I think I don't know. I'm not going to say it properly. I didn't have a lot of negative things happen in my life. A lot of times people say I had negative things and my out was comedy. I had a pretty good life growing up. I mean, we weren't the richest
So
people in the
what
world,
you're
but like
so you're saying that might reflect like where those guys, how they were raised and they're bringing it into their act.
Yeah, if you hear the interviews, sometimes that's what they say. Like, oh, I had a lot of pain. This is my escape. Blah blah blah. I'm not saying that's not true, but like for me, in my case, when my family.
So it's a middle class white
We
guy's
love
trying to
each
be a comic, man.
other.
Is that the deal?
Yeah,
Not Jewish,
we
not
weren't middle
black,
class
nothing?
when I was a little kid.
No.
Then we became later. Yeah. Yeah, but I still work for a living. It's not like
So like you were poor when you were a kid. Is that what you're saying?
We weren't the richest people in the world when
Okay.
I was a little kid. Listen, I didn't realize it because we all got along. It was cool. Like my family was really cool. They took care of us, but I didn't realize until I grew up and got older that we because every night we ate. Well, this is a daily routine. We would eat rice for breakfast. We would eat.
You'd eat rice for breakfast.
We would eat
Now,
rice.
that's pretty good. Now.
We would eat rice for lunch, and we would eat beans or rice for dinner.
Yeah.
Well, so you could buy.
I would say, yeah, you guys were pretty poor.
Well, you could buy beans and rice, a whole bag, and my mom was just serving them up like hotcakes.
Hey, man, bless her, man. I mean, yeah, you guys were pretty poor. I would have to say.
I don't know
Especially
if we
your
were poor.
generation.
They were poor. No, hold it.
I would say in your generation, because like what, you're in your 30s.
But I was a little kid.
You're in your 30s, right?
We were okay a little faster, but
Yeah, but I would say that would be poor in your generation.
that we,
In mine, I don't know. People-
yeah, Mom, because I know you're gonna probably see this. Stop with the beans.
Hey, man.
She don't make rice anymore. And what's funny is in the malto.
Hey, man.
Sometimes we'd have malto meal, and so
That's something I haven't heard about in years.
everything
Malto meal.
that she would make that we would eat, I tried to make my daughter eat because I'm like, oh, I eat this grown up. It's
Oh,
good.
man, she ain't gonna eat that.
Horrible.
Well, she ain't gonna eat that.
She hates it.
No. People aren't gonna eat that. So
Rice
you
with
watch
sugar.
these.
Rice with sugar and milk.
So what are you gonna do with your comic career, man? Are you gonna do you tour other places, Denver, etc., or you just try to stay local?
Depends on how deep you want to get into this. Since I have a job where it requires a lot of my time, so
Does it?
Of course,
Jobs
always
usually
5
do.
days. Always 5 days, but my day lasts from 10 to 14 hours a day. A lot of times 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week. So this is all the time. Well,
So you're making the big bucks anyway.
So when people gesture,
Save your money so you don't have to eat rice and beans someday.
that's why I'm going for
I
with this.
guarantee
So
it, man.
people call from. I've had people call from different parts of the United States, and I can't go. And now that I'm fairly new to this, it's not like I'm just.
You don't have a
greatest comedian
manager?
ever, but people.
You don't have a manager, man? Maybe I should branch out and manage comedians.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you want to do that.
Yeah.
I don't have
Yeah.
a person. I mean, there's not a guy that
I'm
I
just
call
joking.
manager. There's people that do help me out along the way.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Have you ever got? I always heard from like the older musicians, maybe Waylon Jennings and this and that. They would go to these clubs and they would get, or Willie Nelson. They go to clubs and they get stuck and not get paid. That ever happened to you?
No.
No.
But then again, these
See, you
guys
haven't paid your dues yet, man.
But no, I have not paid my dues. No,
you're
exactly
not there,
right.
man, yet.
Let's
Okay,
don't-
I'm
let's-
just joking.
let's-
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
So you
let's
never got
establish
stuck.
that.
That's good.
No, but I'm still paying my dues. Like that takes some time. Like I mean, I'm new. I haven't even been doing this for a year, and you start to see people on TV, and even in your mind, if you say, "Oh, I can do that," those guys have been doing that 20 years. They're good. There's a reason you see people on TV. I'm still.
Well, you
paying
know,
my dues.
I'm not disagreeing, but I've seen guys, like in Las Vegas at some of the comedy clubs, very, very good. And I've seen some guys local, I don't think that ever been on TV real good, too.
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing, but I think a lot of the guys on TV are good, of course.
Yeah.
Have you been to Vegas yet and seen any of those guys?
Well, the only comedy show I had ever saw, other than the things I just said, online stuff, I saw Ron White probably 6 years ago in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So once again, that was the same kind of thing I saw on TV.
So you don't have you hadn't seen many stand-up comedy acts
No,
live before you started performing?
Never, just one, just Ron
Oh,
White.
okay.
And that's it.
And I told you, I mean, I remember because I've been in town like 28 years or so, and I remember when they were at the Holiday Inn, the comedy club was there, and different places. That place where Russo's Italian Kitchens now, they used to have a comedy club. It seems like the comedy clubs never stay in one place too long.
Was it true that you're going to start doing comedy here out of this building?
Yeah, that's true. We're going
I
to do
figured.
comedy. We had a bigger facility or something. We do comedy. It's just I'm the only comic here in the building, and the secretaries are a captive audience. They got to laugh. They want their jobs. They know that. They're nice kids. But so you've been at Gators for a while.
Yeah.
And how's their? Do they get a big crowd over there? Or they get
Yeah, it
they get
depends on
obnoxious.
who's
They get
there.
obnoxious drunks. Have you been heckled? Do you heckle back? What's the story on that?
I'm not really a fan of the nickname, but I'll say they call me Coach Loyd. That's what they call me at conferences.
Coach Loyd?
Yeah, that's what they call me. I will not go by that outside of this town.
Why is that?
But I don't mind it here.
Why is it?
Because I got a lot of fire when I tell stories. So, having said that, just because I have fire, if
Okay.
somebody says something, I shut them down pretty quick. Not like in an abrasive way so much, but sometimes I'm pretty witty and I'm loud, so they can't talk over me. I got a microphone in my hand. So
You ever just cuss them out, man?
No,
you don't.
no, I don't do that. That's a part of comedy. I mean, they got rules where they say, "Hey, don't heckle the comedians," but look all over the place. I mean, that's what people do. So you just got to be ready for it.
Yeah, I don't quite get the mindset why anybody would do that, but I have seen it and heard it done. I think maybe just somebody was too drunk. I
But
guess.
you never did though. Like when you were there that night, you didn't heckle people. I noticed.
No.
That's because they had that fake candle on the table and you guys were trying to look each other's eyes. Tina, if you're out there, is her name Tina? I forgot. But Tina, if you're out there, come back.
Okay, man.
Come back.
I hope that's funnier to the audience who's ever watching this thing than it is to me. So, who's your favorite comic? Who's your favorite comic personally?
I would have to say, I'm gonna throw out probably three names.
Okay.
Bill Burr. Kevin Hart. Louis C.K.
Okay. I think I got to say I don't know who Kevin Hart is, or maybe I've seen him. I don't know, but I got to say this Bill Burr and Louis C.K. I mean, they're brilliant. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, that Louis C.K. Also, he does this show. I don't remember the name of the show. Maybe one was called Louis C.K. I think there were two shows he did. One Louis and maybe Louis C.K. or something. And everyone's like, I think it's on. Is it on HBO or something? Because I usually pay or something, Netflix or something. But I don't have HBO. So, but these guys are really brilliant, I must say, and it's observational. The only thing is, they're pretty dirty, don't you think?
Louis C.K. is probably
he can be real
he's
dirty
compared to the other two.
Yeah, and Bill Burr, but Bill Burr. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Bill Burr says his cuss words out of frustration when he tells stories.
Well, this Bill Burr is an interesting guy. He's from the East Coast, and I think he's primarily Irish East Coast guy. But what amazes me, he's from a pretty, what do we say, upper class background. I don't think he was eating rice every day. Okay, I think his dad was a dentist. Okay, he wasn't eating rice every day, but he has like this street angst or anger. Have you know? Don't you think? Wouldn't you say so?
Yeah.
That has pretty pronounced, almost like he was eating rice every day.
Yeah, like
Eating rice out on these, So, I don't know. They're having games over here.
Yeah, what do you guys
the reboot program?
Quit playing Angry Birds and pay attention.
the reboot here is, we're getting there. But yeah, he has that anger, but he is very brilliant. He's got podcasts and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
go ahead.
And they're like money making machines too. I think both of them. They do TV, they do podcasts, they do concerts, and all this other stuff. So maybe the future looks bright for you.
Maybe there, just things like what you just said. Because I'm fairly new to this. There's so many avenues out there that I don't know, but like I wouldn't have thought of.
Well, I mean, there's the YouTube deal. I mentioned it to her because I was talking to you before you came on about like this self-revelatory form of humor, wherein you say everything about yourself, all these personal things, sexual things that I wonder about, but nonetheless, there's a comedian on YouTube that I heard she makes like well into the six figures or more, and her name is Jenna Marbles, and she just does YouTube videos. Yeah, I guess you haven't seen her, so you're not in on comedy, really. You don't know what's going on. Okay, you looked it up when I mentioned it? I'm just joking.
Well, I did after you mentioned it, and then I was like, oh, yeah, I knew that.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, she just does, I don't think she's expanded out to concerts or anything else. She just started in YouTube, that venue. Hey, by the way, this show will probably be on YouTube, so hey, maybe it'll be your big, maybe Louis C.K. or Bill Burr, or who's that other guy?
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart will see it, and they'll ask you to open for him. You never know. They say, this guy's pretty funny, man.
Yeah, probably not.
So give us a story, man. Give us the last time you were in a club, and then we'll get back to the comedians in a minute. Silverman. You got a funny story for us? Like last time you were in a club, what really hit home? What joke? Was it a mother-in-law joke? Just joke.
Well, I mean...
No.
All right, well, here we go.
Okay, here we go.
This is... my... If I'm doing an open mic, I try to keep it fresh because I'm not going to repeat myself open mic. I'm the host. People don't show up to hear me say the same thing. Even though the purpose of it is to work on your material, I don't. I don't repeat myself. So I was at work that day.
Yeah. So
I was in a bathroom. It was probably about 3x3. I guess a 3x3 square.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm using the restroom.
Yeah.
In the urinal.
Here we go, man.
There's a guy that swings the door open in this 3x3 space. He says, well, he don't say anything, he just looks at me, and I just glanced at him.
Yeah.
Well, apparently it was time to roll because this guy also needed to use the bathroom, and he just rolled in the 3x3 space in the toilet that was about 1.5 feet behind me. And he wedged himself in there. He was about this tall and about that big around. He had these suspenders, and he got in there, and he bumped me when he did. He knocked me into the urinal. Like I touched. Anyway, so he knocked me into the urinal. I was like, this guy's for real. Like he really's got some stuff going. And then he sat down, and I had to get out of there because he was. What I'm doing right now is I'm trying to not use quite the fire that I use on stage.
I see. So it's difficult to. Yeah, it's kind of difficult to project the deal.
You know, when you get mad, sometimes you think things that you probably wouldn't say if you were talking to your mom. Like when you get mad, So I'm trying to.
Well, especially when I was your age, man.
Trying to hold back.
Now hey, you mellow out. So.
You're not that old though.
Yeah, you don't be surprised. No, you do mellow out some. You don't quit. So you're trying to relate this story, but you can't. Did you say anything to the big fat guy that knocked you down, man? No. Did you? You didn't say nothing to the guy?
No, there was nothing to say because he weirded me out. This guy was he had to do a number 2 right then. There was no talking. And then I was like, I gotta go. This guy's for real. And then I walked out.
Go ahead.
I told all my friends. I was proud of this guy. Like this guy.
It's pretty good load. Is that the deal, man?
Yeah. Honestly, like that. I will just tell like daily stories, things I talk about on stage. I talk about my kids a lot. Things. Yeah,
Louis C.K. talks about his 2 children a lot.
Yeah, well, I'm a parent, and so there are things that I just didn't know about. Like I didn't know I didn't know any little kids before I had kids.
Right.
And so things happen every
it's
day.
Amusing, right?
Yeah, sometimes things I don't know about, like things I'm not aware of, and things I find to be. I don't know if I'm a very good dad. I get frustrated real easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think get frustrated real easy.
Well, do you ever? I was at a. This is an aside. I shouldn't be interrupting you, but I was at a. I saw a family member. Gosh, I don't want to say it. He said something kind of like pretty violent to his child.
Like I'm gonna go upside your head like that.
Well, that wouldn't have been so bad. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I guess Would you ever say to one of your kids, "I'll bust your face open"? I mean, that kind of freaked me out. Man.
No, this is what I say.
You wouldn't say that, would you?
No, like my kid.
Almost like
My daughter, she got red hair and buck teeth. She walked past me
Lady buck teeth.
Well, I mean,
I haven't heard that since years. Buck teeth.
Yeah, well, it's real.
You know where it comes from? We used to say when we were kids, sucking your thumb. Oh, you sucked your thumb.
She never sucked her thumb. She just got buck teeth. I don't know what happened. She
right.
walks by.
Braces.
If she was here right now,
yeah,
and she did something I didn't like, I would say, "Hey, baby, stop before I go upside your head." I would say that.
Well, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
He said, "I'll bust your face open."
No, I don't do that.
That was a little bit much.
That's hardcore. But I would tell her I go upside her head. I got that off.
But would
you know where I got that at? By the way, I've been saying it ever since.
It sounds like something one of the black comedians would have said, or something, or on a show, one of those shows at Jefferson's or something.
I like blues music, and on a B.B. King album.
Yeah. He said, yeah, they.
B.B. King.
Well, see, that's what I mean. Yeah.
He's like, "Now, fellas, if that lady does something you don't like, don't go upside her head now." That's what he said, and then from that point, I decided I'm going upside people's head. Rocky Balboa.
But do you believe in well? So, you think Rocky Balboa would give it to his kids? Is that the deal, man?
No, you see how Rocky, he didn't give it to his kids. He would get mad at his kid and go downstairs and hit the punching bag. What a nerd. He's my favorite boxer, don't get me wrong.
Well, what in those movies, I think I like better than the step scenes. I like, for some reason, when he would hit the
meat?
The meat. I thought that was pretty good, man.
Yeah, that's how I train for comedy.
Louis C.K.
hit the meat.
Louis C.K. says he trains before he trains with a fighter, like in a boxing,
Yeah, I don't do that.
You don't do that?
No.
You're just in the field, those oil fields, in the heat of the summer, and that toughened you up, I'll bet, man. I bet it's been pretty hot out there, let me tell you something.
Well, there's some hardcore guys out there.
It's pretty hot out there, huh?
There's lots of hardcore guys
San
out there.
Diego, where you at, man? Where you at? Tell us, where you at the oil field, man? Some of these places are...
Are you talking... You talking about San Diego here?
Pretty hot out there, isn't it?
Out
here in the desert?
Whichever way it's at.
Yeah, wherever, yeah. Where you at in the oil field?
I was going to say, it's like I love George West.
That's
Kennedy, George West, Catula.
Pretty brutal out
all
there.
Yeah. I was going to say, to finish that thought, and then I'll talk about some of these guys that I work with. I'm not... Here's the stuff about the dad that I don't get. I'm not very good at. My daughter goes to dance lessons. She's not a very good dancer, but we pay for lessons.
Could a child be a real good dancer?
I
think they get to be. That's why they're taking the lessons.
Yeah.
So you keep spending that money, Dad. Don't stop.
But it's not working out.
Don't stop spending that money.
And then, but when we went to the recital, she was the only. She was the only girl that didn't know. She had to watch she would stare at the other girl beside her and just do what she did. So she was always a step behind. That's okay. That's not part of the story. She got in trouble at school. So when she gets in trouble at school, she's going to bed early. She's not going to eat snacks. We're not watching movies. We're not reading books. Say, all right, it's time to go to bed. So we were hard on her because she was being not very good at school. She got her Humpty turned. You know what that means? I don't know if you turned people's Humpty. Yeah. Well.
No, I got your Humpty turned. What does that? Does that mean she got?
There's a Humpty Dumpty on the board, and I guess Humpty doesn't like it when he turns upside down. So the teacher turns him upside down. That means you're in trouble.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the Humpty was turned. We get home. So it's time to go to bed. But she said, "Mommy, can I do one dance before I go to bed?" My wife said, "No. You weren't good at school today. Time for bed." And me, because I'm a nice guy.
So it's a sensory deprivation sort of punishment. I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead.
Yeah, this is serious stuff.
You should get a tank.
I don't know if you just...
And immerse your children to know, but that's your punishment, man.
Yeah. So
something new. Okay, go ahead.
You
used to you'd smack them, now it's sensory deprivation. I'm sorry, go ahead.
You know what? Let's just tell it how it is. Yeah, I'll go upside her head if she's not doing good.
Okay,
but I decided not to go upside her head this time. You kid, whoever's watching this, your kids...
CPS. CPS, Child Protective Service.
Yeah.
They used to call it CPS.
Yeah, okay, CPS. People spank kids these days. They may not do it in
And
front
this
of
is
you.
his,
They do.
this is his meal.
So she said, "Can I do one dance?" Now, the form of music in our room is a Valentine's doll where you got to press the hand. When you press the hand, it's a Valentine's monkey, and it plays Love Machine, and it does this. And, so she's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna
Is
do
Love
a dance."
Machine a song?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'll sing it for you. So she touches the hand,
Uh-huh.
and it says, dun, 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 "Mr. Love Machine." Dun, dun. That's what the monkey does. And so now she starts to dance, but 4 steps into the dance, she comes over and hits me in the nose. But like it's a direct shot to the nose, and honestly, I forgot how old she was when she hit me in the nose. Like,
Well, I mean, if you're not expecting it, and almost any force, I think, in the nose would hurt pretty bad.
it
right?
did. So I got fired up. So what did I do?
I don't know. I hope you didn't hit her back in the
No.
nose. I hope not.
Well, it's public access.
Yeah.
So no, CPS, we did not spank her.
Yeah, okay.
But I was like, "Get in bed now, baby!" But we got a little more fire than that. And I said, "You don't hit me, you don't hit your mom." That's what I said. And I said, "Get in bed! I want to hear your lip." Now I walked out because I was mad. I was pacing back and forth in the living room. This is real pace. Like I was mad in real life. Like in real life. And I heard my daughter tell her mom, she said, "It don't matter what she said. I don't talk about that anymore, Mark." I thought CPS was watching for a second.
They're probably
I was
watching.
playing.
Well,
So anyway,
Obama's watching.
Yeah.
Obama's watching.
I don't know if we.
And the CIA, they're watching everything, man. They're
they are now.
encapsulating it and putting it in databases, and then
That's
it'll be out
silly,
there, man.
huh? I don't know where we're headed with this deal.
Not good. It's not good.
It's not good
No.
whatsoever. Anyway, just
So
a little
what-
side
what-
note.
so
I
what-
broke her toy. I broke the toy because I slammed it on the
Oh,
ground.
okay.
Yeah, I didn't spank her. I broke the toy. I spanked the monkey. I threw it on the ground as hard as I could. It shattered into a million pieces. I walked in there anyway. I heard my daughter tell me why.
Well,
he broke my favorite toy.
Who was I talking? I was talking to somebody who had. How to make you feel?
Well, because I was already fired up, so I just basically yelled back to complete that story.
Well,
Then I'll break
people.
all the rest of your toys too.
I think the deal is you're saying those stories, but people's lives aren't perfect. Their kids aren't perfect, and there's always going to be problems, right?
Yes.
And I don't know, so really, what's the humor? The humor is, I guess, you're presented that in this perfect world, it ain't perfect,
No.
right? You got all this stuff going on.
No.
So, what toy was it that you broke of your child's?
No, the dancing monkey.
You dug, and how much did the dancing monkey cost you?
I looked it up. It's $29.
So you now you have to replace the $29
That's why I looked it
dancing
up.
monkey toy, or you don't have to, but nonetheless you wasted $29 of your own money.
I was trying to shorten that story for you.
See,
but
well, I'm trying to give you the older guy perspective of why you don't go doing stuff like that, because you're the one that pays, man.
yeah, but as I was telling her, "Don't do that anymore, baby,"
Mm-hmm.
she wasn't looking at me. She was looking at the dancing monkey. As I was mad, it was playing Love Machine in the background. That's why I broke it.
But I want to know the scenario. How did the child get that close to you to give you a punch in the nose?
Well, because
I mean, oh, daddy, and then she sucker punched you? What's the score
Yeah,
here?
she did.
I mean, you're awfully high. I don't get the deal.
no, I was sitting on the floor. I didn't expect her to
Okay.
just creep up with her. You want me to show you the dance? It's a 4-step dance. It's
But
not
are you sure she didn't hit you inadvertently, by accident? Isn't that the way she hit you? It was a mistake.
Are we doing attorney talk right now?
I'm
Look what's
asking.
going on with
asking,
this
man.
one.
I'm asking, man.
What you don't know is I've had jury duty since I've been
Yeah,
here in
okay,
Corpus
that's good
for
for
my
you,
first
man.
time. So you're an attorney. I actually have started a professional juror company because ever since I became a juror, it's like I got
Someone
so much
taught.
jury knowledge. I don't know if you'd really quite get the jury stuff. You do the attorney stuff, and I do like the juror stuff. I think we could probably come together
Well,
on something.
No. So you want to tell us a story, man, on how your child really hit you?
Oh yeah.
I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know.
I think she sucker punched me, honestly. I think she.
Well, maybe
thought
it's
in her
watching.
mind-
She watched all those Rocky movies.
Yeah.
Again and again and again, and the kid's like being brainwashed.
Yeah, I thought in
That,
her
like,
mind.
tell her this is not a ring.
Yeah, in her mind,
You know.
she creeped up on me because she's like, I can't get one in if I just come at him like we're about to box because she.
Hey, you want to hear a brutal story?
Yeah. So.
This is funny, man. Since you're a comedian, maybe I shouldn't. My father, God rest his soul, he used to have my brother and me fight, and he'd give the winner a penny. I mean, hey, I don't know. I don't know that was a good idea, man. But this is like a different, this is, So that might be something. Did you have a sister?
Are you trying to tell me things are different now?
I don't know.
Things are different now.
Yeah, I don't know about that. So maybe that's an idea for discipline. Look, you and your sister fight, and like whoever's standing.
Yeah, because I got a 4-year-old
that's
and a 6-month-old. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know that. That's really awesome. I don't know. I hope that you collected a lot of pennies. That would be horrible if you got beat up every time. Your brother got the money every time.
I don't think that would be something. I don't think that this would be something I'd be doing. But times change. Places change. Your social class group changes.
I'm just still regular. If I had $8 billion, I think I'd just be regular still. I'd probably give most of it away. Yeah, I know so. I probably would. Honestly, this is a side note. I mean, I hate to get serious, but I'm usually not. But I get more joy from giving people things.
So you give everybody Multi-Meal. Give them Multi-Meal?
There's nothing wrong with Multi-Meal. I think it's fantastic to this day. I ate some about last week, but my
what is Multi-Meal? What is it?
It's funny you say that because
Yeah.
Daddy don't know what Multi-Meal is, but I just know if you put butter and sugar
it's
in
good
it
stuff.
and stir it up, it's fantastic.
And it's easy to make it. It's probably pretty cheap. So on the comedy deal, so you don't have a manager or anything, and you're doing like open mic over here, and you're the host of the.
Yeah, they asked me if I would be the host of the open mic before about a week before that.
I got to say this, just talking gossip. I don't like usually the hosts, man.
No?
The hosts are usually boring. Hey, get the host off of here. Get the guy on here. So man, so maybe I'll heckle you if I go in. No, I'm serious. I'm not usually a big fan of the hosts. I don't usually think they're too funny.
What's going on here right now? Did you just think there's two things? You started attorneying me 5 minutes ago. Now this is serious.
Well, this is a different kind of show, man. So we're just trying to keep it moving. But I don't want to give you a hard time. No. So you do? How long do you do? You introduce each act in between?
I'll get up at the first of the show. I might talk 5 to 10 minutes. I guess it depends on the day, and then I'll just bring the next guy up. It's actually they want you to be fresh. So in that sense, it's a tough job sometimes to be the host, but it's almost easier because if he says go 5 to 10 minutes and you're up there and you're just not feeling it, and I pick up on that pretty fast. Some people just keep going.
In other words, even if they're not being laughed at or the audience isn't connecting, they still
just keep going like that. If I don't, it's 5 to 10 minutes, I'll shut it off and get them up there. I mean, I'm not going to wear people out. I don't want to do that. I wouldn't want to sit there if somebody's not funny.
But you can't do that if you're like when you're doing a comedy act and you're not hitting. You got to sit there.
During shows, if they give you a time, you should make your last joke in right there.
Did you hear? And I think it was in Philadelphia. You mentioned Philadelphia and you mentioned Bill Burr. Did you hear that act when he was in Philadelphia? I believe it was Philadelphia, and he was getting heckled by the whole crowd the entire time. And he went up and he stood up there the whole time and like told off the crowd. Did you hear that? Let me say something. I don't want to use the street term, but man, Bill Burr had some real courage, man. I mean, the whole crowd was drunk and heckling, and he stood up and gave it to him toe-to-toe, man. You need to go to YouTube and listen to that. That was pretty amazing. I think it was Philadelphia. And he put him down in Philadelphia. He said, you got this guy, this make-believe Stallone hero. He said, but you don't have anything up for Joe Frazier, and Joe Frazier is a real hero of this town. You don't have it, He really gave it to him. Pretty interesting kind of phenomenon. Listen to it. So, what about these? We talked earlier about like these self-revelatory comedians like Bill Burr and all that. So you do that too to a certain extent. Tell vignettes about your child and all that. You do that, right?
Yeah. Work-related, child-related, observational comedy.
Does your family ever resent it? Say, hey, man, don't. Or they don't know. They don't know. Well, your wife doesn't know.
Yes, I do talk about my. I talk about my family, all the family in Oklahoma. I'll talk about them kind of a lot. If you guys see this, sorry, but
yeah, you're from Oklahoma.
Yeah, but I'll talk about them a lot. So I do say those things on stage. Before the show in Oklahoma, my cousin called and he said, "Hey, he's got a new girlfriend, and some of the greatest things that's ever happened in life, as far as I'm concerned, it was him." And so he called me. He was like, "Hey, if you're gonna do a show here, can you leave this out?" Because he was bringing his new girlfriend to the show. I talked about them a lot, but there's a lot to be talked about there.
He wanted you to leave out a story that you related about him before. Is that what you wanted?
Yeah.
What you wanted to do?
Yes, with his ex-girlfriend. So I was like, all right, cool, man. I won't
Was it a
talk
good
about
story, man?
Yeah.
What's the story? You don't want to say it.
No.
You can't say it on public
No,
access.
you can't say it on. But by the way, you know who we should be thanking, by the way? And I should have started the show by thanking him to start with. Barry Goldwater, I want to thank you for making this possible, for signing the 1984 Cable Act. All right, go.
How did you know that?
Nice.
I don't even know if it's true. Is that true?
It is true.
You don't even remember Barry Goldwater?
I was at the Ron Paul convention in 2008,
Mm-hmm.
the Republican National Convention, and Barry Goldwater Jr. was there, and then I started looking up things because they talked about his dad a lot.
Yeah, he got a lot. Did you know that he got a lot more liberal as he got older? Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. He got a lot more liberal when he got older, and he was in. He ran. Who did he run against? Do you know? Do you remember? I mean, you wouldn't. You don't. You couldn't remember. He ran against Lyndon Johnson.
The 37th president of the United States.
If that's true, it's amazing. I don't know if that's.
Yeah.
So he ran against Lyndon Johnson, and the deal is, supposedly the commercial. I don't remember it too well. Maybe I do remember it, but it's hard. Memory changes. But they showed a mushroom cloud. He was very pro-military, in an almost reactionary sort of way, Barry Goldwater. And of course, Johnson had us in Vietnam, but nonetheless, he showed a mushroom cloud and said, against Barry Goldwater, Lyndon Johnson said, "You want this to happen to your children." So a lot of people claim that was a very negative ad that was very effective against Goldwater. A little bit of anecdotal history. You could work it in your act if you like. I'm sure,
I got to change that. He was the 35th president of the United States.
I don't remember the names of the
37 was
presidents and all
Gerald
that,
Ford.
the numbers and all that. So what, like on these shows, what was your favorite TV? What was your favorite comedy show?
Making this up.
What was your favorite comedy show? What's your
On
favorite
TV?
comedy show?
Like as a kid?
As a show on television.
Or now?
Television is like a square tube.
Yeah, but now or when I was
glass.
a kid.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I watch all kinds of shows.
We're here now.
Okay,
Okay,
they're
so
not
now-
comedy shows.
Oh, no.
Dexter. I watched Dexter. That might be
Is
when
that
I
a
was
comedy?
downstairs when I first got here. I thought something was, I was really.
Man, let me tell you something.
Check
I don't know
this
how
out.
anybody could watch like a show about somebody maiming and killing people every week. It's a different person. I don't know, man.
I know. I'm mad at myself for having watched it.
Well, I'm being frank, man. People said, "Oh, it's a good show. It's a good show." Oh, yeah, huh? It's a good show about a serial killer. Okay, let's move on to that.
I don't
Okay,
All right, I'm gonna give it to you. Homeland, Dexter.
Well, comedy. We're talking comedy, though. I guess I wanted to talk
my
about
favorite
comedy.
comedy show.
Yeah, what's your
That's what we're
favorite
talking
comedy
about.
show? Yes, sir.
My favorite comedy show still is. I don't still watch Saturday Night Live. That's still to
Do
this
you?
day. Yeah.
And you think it's funny?
I do think it's funny, and things are funnier now that I started doing this because I know a little more about what it takes. Even though it's stand-up comedy, it's not improv, but they're doing sketch comedy, and
Man,
to now know what it takes to see their reactions and how they laugh and almost make each other laugh. It just makes it funnier now.
Yeah. See, I watched the show a couple weeks ago. And I didn't think it was funny at all. I mean, I guess maybe like you get professional and older, and you get like humorless. Nothing makes you laugh or something. I don't know.
I think you're a funny guy though. I mean, not funny. You look good.
I don't know about that. So what about this show? You mentioned before we talked about this show Seinfeld. You watch it now?
Yes.
You like it now?
Actually, yeah. I want to apologize. That's good because I do watch Seinfeld now.
Yeah.
I was thinking about what
I'm
I
asking the
watched
question.
last night.
Something we briefly went over before the show. He's giving me different answers.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah.
a trick? Okay.
No.
Yeah, Seinfeld. You like
Well,
Seinfeld?
last night, those are the shows I watched. That's why I reverted to that. But yes, I do watch Seinfeld now. When I was a kid, I think because it was around when I was old enough to get it. But I had watched some previous episodes. I didn't get. I was a kid. I just didn't find it funny.
Yeah.
I watched it. I got older, watched the show now,
Yeah, I don't think kids could get that humor.
And I say Jerry Seinfeld's a genius now.
Yeah, well, I don't know if he's a genius, but the guy that produced the show, what's his name? Then he has a show too. The guy that produces, what's his name? George? You don't remember? You
No,
don't remember?
I don't remember.
I think maybe he's a genius. So Seinfeld is funny,
Because his comedy is the same way though. Like that's his.
and he's pretty clean too,
Yeah,
isn't he?
he is.
Most of the time,
his
unlike
observation.
yourself.
Yeah,
According to what you've, unlike yourself and these other filthy crumbs, that the Women's Temperance League should stop out and were an assault to my ideals and morality.
I'm really not filthy, but I
You
just
know,
they're the things. I just if this is, I'm not going to talk about
Well,
the
you
guy
know,
using
you-
the bathroom in great depth. That's
Yeah,
the
you
part
know.
I was trying to eliminate. So.
Well, and I'd seen a comic locally one time, and sometimes they get, and then some of the comics are sacrilegious too. You know, that, I don't know, really freaks me out.
I don't think that's fun.
No.
Not
So
really.
there the Oklahoma kicks in. The Oklahoma blue collar background kicks in and says, hey, okay, that's right, draw the
Well,
line.
flip side of that comment though,
Mhm.
when you're at the comedy club, just because the right for them to express their
Mhm.
self, in that aspect, sometimes I will have their back and say, well, that's part of it. I don't necessarily like it, but they may not like what I talk about either. So just for that, then I'll say, okay, cool, that's okay. But I don't really find some of that to be funny personally. But I'll still have their back just because.
Well, you know,
We got funny people here in Corpus, by the way. Real funny people.
I think that, let me ask you this question, it's something I'm curious about. It looks to me like a lot of the comedy in comedy clubs is oriented towards the people that are in the clubs, which would be a lot of times maybe single people or not married people, or now maybe Corpus isn't typical, but that's your market. So you have people that'll find that more accepting than, family people have been married a long time and all that. Is that right?
Well, that's pretty close in what I see. So if you see people that have shows on TV, they're
Right.
not really marketing themselves to who's in the crowd. They got a set. It's 1 hour, and they're going to do it. That it is what it is. Local comedy clubs, you'll see that because sometimes if you got a certain amount of time, whether a heckler shut them down and made them think otherwise, like they'll try to find new avenues to fill that time.
Mhm.
And so when it's a personal, they're in your personal space, then you will talk about the people because people can see the people. If it's a smaller room and they'll laugh more.
Yeah, I don't know the people that sit in front in these comedy clubs, man. I never sit in the front. I just don't want to be heckled or somebody say something like, because the comics do that, right? They pick on the people that are right in the front.
Yeah, some people specialize in that, and I think it's real funny when they do it because of the things that people come up with off the top of their head, like split second. That's the stuff that
It
makes
is
me
funny,
laugh.
but man, I'm not going to be like, I don't want to hear anything personal about me.
No, I wouldn't say anything personal about it at all.
But you do that? Do you do that also?
Yeah, sometimes, but I don't take. I have rules. People I won't make fun of. If somebody can't help it, will not make fun of it. Absolutely. If you dress horrible or something you're wearing or what, then I got some words to say to you, probably.
One time, this is an anecdotal story, but I was on a cruise ship, and they had a mime who would go around and screw with the people before the stage act would get on, and he would screw with them and sit in their lap or this and that, and this older businessman got this mime and just started strangling him, and I didn't think it was funny. It's funny now, but I didn't think it was funny because I said, no, here's this businessman, man, or you could tell the older guy, maybe he's got problems and his mime was screwed with him. So he lost it a little bit. Did you ever have a reaction like that from the crowd, a mean reaction?
No. Really, like I got a lot of fire, and I'm pretty intense when I tell these stories, so I really don't have a lot of people that say.
So they might be a little bit intimidated.
Not everybody, but some people, just because I'm loud and I'm just kind of.
So what's the deal like? Let's say that tomorrow you quit working in the oil fields and you want to make a living doing this. I got the impression there's like a circuit of comedy clubs between maybe San Antonio and Austin and Corpus.
They all know each other.
And some guys travel the circuit. Is that right?
Yes, there are people that do that, and it's basically starts in Austin. Like you'll have comedians roll through. The comedians here won't necessarily go to Austin, but we have a group of people, like the Vatos Locos Comedy Tour. Those guys, they travel all over South Texas. It's Javi Luna, Jacob Rodriguez, they'll travel. Ellen Bouchang, she'll travel all over South Texas. A lot of people do it local. If it wasn't for the Vatos Locos Comedy Tour, sometimes like I would have less shows. You got John Roman and Nino B. Lopez. Those are the Comics Live people, and they'll put you on shows. They're always willing to put you on shows. So you got a chance to do that. But yeah, they're all intertwined. They all know each other. So like if you want to do a show, you're going to be in this area. They'll say, hey, I'll make a call, and then maybe you can get on this guy's show here, and then. Roy Trejo, like he does shows here local also that he'll bring to town, so he helps out. So they're all kind of intertwined. Everybody kind of knows everybody. So yeah, there's a little circuit, I guess that's what you want to call it.
And is there a way that like you could break into like another circuit, like say the Vegas clubs, or is this, you know what I mean?
Okay, out of Tulsa. Well, I'm from there, but I know people that book shows there. So that is its own circuit itself. So for me personally, to right here in the Midwest, yeah, I probably could get that covered. But how to get to like L.A. and New York, if you're going to get on those stages, like I say, as far as me paying my dues, yes, I'm still doing that. Am I funny enough to open up for certain people? I don't know. I guess it depends on the day. Some days I'm better than others. Right. But that requires some work. Like that's where people move. That's a real sacrifice. You move to Los Angeles and New York to go. The problem, I'm a family guy, so if it does happen for me, it's going to be a long time going because I'm just not going to pack up and leave. Can't do it. So now, if I quit my job to do comedy, yeah, I would hit the Midwest circuit. That's what I would do.
So do you sit down and write these jokes? Do you write your bits? Or are you just like contemporaneous?
Yeah. Let's see, I've been doing this since November. What amount of months is that? 8, 9. I have. I never wrote anything down.
No.
No. When I get on people, like when I do a show and they say you have 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 30 or, I will make a list of what I want to hit so it intertwines. But as far as me writing a joke, I tell so many personal stories. They're only true stories that I just tell them. Like, that's it.
And let me ask you this. I'm curious about this because I've seen all these comedians, and I told you before, there's so many of them are self-revelatory. Sarah Silverman and et cetera, that they tell all these stories about themselves. You never think, well, what about my privacy, or shouldn't I maintain more privacy? You ever wonder about that?
Yes, but the reason people laugh at comedians, the reason they laugh at what they say is because they relate to what they say. So sometimes things are said that may be a touchy subject because that's what people relate to, because they can't believe, like for some of those people, they can't believe what they just said because that's what people think in their mind. They just don't tell people. And so when they do those things, that's why they dig into that levels, because they're trying to relate to people. And most of the times they do relate to people, and that's why people laugh, because it's deep. The stuff they wouldn't say out loud, and they're like, oh.
But when I was growing up, before the Richard Pryors and all this other kind of observational thing, which started with Lenny Bruce, but I think Lenny Bruce came out, and then there weren't a lot of comedians between him and maybe, say, Richard Pryor for a period of years. I guess there were some of those guys. I think there was a David Klein and all that. The guys used to say, like, jokes. Milton Berle used to get up and say jokes. Red Skeleton used to say jokes. Nobody says jokes now. They have these stories about them. And I'm not saying, it's a different kind of humor, right?
Mitch Hedberg, he threw out one-liners. His whole show was one-liners.
Oh, Rodney Dangerfield told mostly jokes, right? Was that?
Yeah. But of recent, Mitch Hedberg is the guy who's like that. But yeah,
he's doing that too, Mitch Hedberg?
Well,
I haven't heard of it.
You know what? You asked me earlier what comedians were living that lifestyle, and Mitch Hedberg, add him to the list, because he died of an overdose, and he was real funny. But like one-liners, but intelligent one-liners.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm talking about like, oh, take my mother-in-law, please. These guys, like, there was kind of corny. As a matter of fact, you know what? I had an idea. I think it's like there's like a Milton Berle book of like 1,001 jokes. And if you look at the jokes, they're kind of funny. I said, I should take these jokes, and go over like to some even their comedy club or that, and just read those jokes and see what people do. See if they'll laugh or something.
Because the times are different? Well, there are some things that
Well, the jokes still seem kind of funny, but I don't know if people would laugh or they would just, boo you off the stage or whatever.
Every comedian that I ever say that I liked or loved,
Mm-hmm.
every one of them told stories, and that's what I think molded the
Mm-hmm.
way that I do it. It's all over the board too. Like, you ever heard of Jerry Clower?
No.
Real funny, but he's from the South, and he tells stories about hunting and like that kind of stuff. I'm not a hunter.
Yeah,
he's real Southern, and just stories. So everybody that I've ever loved to hear, they all told stories. So like the guys like him, Milton, he was good at smoking cigars, but like
Yeah,
I'm not good at telling.
No, he was a little bit. I mean, he started before my time too. They, supposedly Uncle Milty in this TV show. I don't remember any of that.
I don't know a joke. Like I literally.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Tell me a joke.
Give me a joke. Yeah.
I literally don't know a joke. And the stuff that makes my wife laugh, like the joke she likes, it's not funny to me whatsoever. Love you.
Well, people used to tell jokes. They don't so much anymore. And when people used to tell me a joke, man, I used to say, "Oh, please."
Yeah, because they're not funny.
Don't tell me this joke.
Like,
I don't want to sit and listen to your joke
You want me
and
to
then
tell you
have
my
to pretend I'm laughing. Yeah. Tell me.
you ready for this?
Yes, sir.
You're gonna look at me after I say it and be like, Peanut walks into a bar. He was assaulted.
Okay. Okay.
No, I don't laugh when she tells me that. Like that kind of stuff. Like the Peanut walks into a bra. Wait, it didn't make any sense. Basically, the Peanut was dyslexic, and she laughed for 5 minutes, and I don't get it. Because
But I remember, but I don't think people do that anymore. Tell jokes, do they?
No.
And then it used to be, there'd be like in jokes, like people would tell you, and this was like, they passed jokes around, and I think the internet used to do that. Remember, you used to get a joke a day on the internet or something, or all these jokes.
Yeah.
I don't think they do that anymore, do they?
No, not that I know. I used to tell silly jokes like that. I would get on stage, and that's how it would start. Like just to see the crowd go, "What just happened?" And then I would laugh and tell stories.
Okay, this has been Mr. Loyd Philips. We're reaching the end of the show. We got 3 minutes left. Thanks for coming on. You perform at Gators Comedy Club, right?
Comics Live Comedy Club. It's at Gators.
Right.
So that's a back section.
Okay.
Well, I got to say that because those guys
see
do
Gators. Okay.
Yeah.
And then so you go in there, you go in the back, you pay $10-$20 Friday and Saturday night, and you see the comics, right?
Most of them are $12. Most of the shows are $12, but depending on who it is, anywhere from $10 to $30.
Listen, and thanks for your patience. Like I say, this has been our reboot, our new show. Appreciated you coming on. Thank you, Mr. Loyd Philips.
Yeah,
hey, good
good.
luck, man.
Looking
Take care.
good, Mark.
Thank you.
Looking real
Take care.
good.
Good night.
Love you.